How's it going, everybody? C-RadTV back here in another video. So, of course, it's time for another Detroit Lions NFL draft preview. So, in the last draft preview, we took a look at the top day 3 quarterback prospects in the 2022 NFL draft. And in this part, we're going to take a look at the top day 3 NFL running back prospects in this year's NFL draft. So, we're going to take a look at the top running back prospects and see who to keep an eye on in day 3 of the draft. Since we could still maybe use another running back or two, for depth, of course. But yeah, anyway, with all that said, let's go ahead and let's jump right into it. Let's go. So the first running back we're going to go over here, hailing out of Mississippi, standing 5'9", weighing 250 pounds, we got Snoop Connor. So for Snoop's strengths, he's an intelligent runner, can take smart angles, won't rush the process. He has enough wiggle to make tackles miss in space. His vision finds some extra yards, prevents mistakes. He's a sturdy blocker, has the size and play strength to take on blitzers and hold his ground. Has very natural hands, will make him a safety net for the QB. He should be an instant contributor in the pass game. He has excellent spatial awareness and anticipation. In terms of his weaknesses, though, he's a slow roller, doesn't have ideal burst through the hole and around the corner. He will get caught in foot races due to his average build-up speed. His physical tools are average for an NFL back. He lacks the power to drive the power and knock back tacklers on initial contact. He's relying on his technique and nuisance to create most of his success, and it may make the transition more difficult for him. In terms of his NFL comparison, he's been compared to Damien Pierce to the New England Patriots, so has a lot of strong upside for sure. A couple things to clean up, but someone definitely to keep an eye on for sure. Alright, so the next player we're going to go over here, hailing out of Washington State, standing 5'10", weighing 205 pounds, we got Max Borge. So for Max's strengths, he may offer the quickest feet of any back in this class. He shifts laterally like a saloon skier. Shiftiness and immediate bursts are off either foot. It makes tackling him in the open field like trying to corral a jackrabbit. He complements his elusiveness. He's also tougher than his reputation may suggest. He shows his leg drive, his pad level, and determination to be effective at short yardage and a real nose for the end zone. The majority of his 156 career receptions in college for Washington State, they were quick dump-offs in the flat. So he's really good at, just dumping the ball off too. And he shows the soft hands and body control to collect and control the ball efficiently. He belies his frame and playing style, and he's shown remarkable ball security over his career. He fumbled just twice on 525 touches in college, so, that's a pretty good success rate. In terms of his weaknesses, though, while he's stronger and tougher than his size may suggest, he isn't the type to consistently bulldoze and drag a lot of tacklers for extra yardage. Further, while he boasts his elite quickness, he also tops out and acts quickly. He doesn't possess top-shelf breakaway speed. He just had 4 plays of 50-plus yards over his career at college, including 1 in 2019 if you want to do some scouting there and film review. He missed all but one of Washington State's 4 games in 2020 due to a severely sprained left wrist. So yeah, he does have some injury concerns for sure. That could cause a red flag. In terms of his NFL comparison, he's been compared to Austin Eckler, the Los Angeles Chargers. So has a lot of upside, a lot of things to like for sure, some great speed. A couple things to clean up, that injury for sure. The big key is, can he stay healthy? So yeah, definitely someone to consider maybe. So the next player we're going to go over here, hailing out of Arizona State, standing 6'1", weighing 210 pounds, we got Rashad White. So for Rassad's strengths, he's a fluid athlete with surprising wiggle for his size. He has also accelerates smoothly and shows good lateral quickness and leaping ability to elude. He spins off the vault of would-be tacklers. He does a nice job of setting up opponents. He strings together moves to leave them off balance. He uses subtle stop-start hesitations and cutbacks against the grain to break into the secondary. His size helps him bowl over small defenders, and he runs with proper pad level. He shows the leg drive and determination to be a tackle breaker. He's among his best assets in his ability to contribute to the passing game. He's an accomplished receiver, shows soft hands and body control to adjust to parlay throwing passes. He gathers the ball in quickly and securing it. He carries the ball tight to his frame with only one documented fumble over the 2020 and 2021 seasons. And he also was invited to the Senior Bowl and was at the Combine, so we've had some pretty strong showings there. In terms of his weaknesses, though, he's not the power back his frame and statistics may suggest. He runs upright too often, inviting big hits. He accelerates smoothly, but lacks elite top-end speed. He missed one game in 2021 with a right lower leg injury. It may need a closer look, so that could be a red flag right there. He dominated in primetime showings against USC and Washington, where in both those games he had a combined total of 474 all-purpose yards and 5 TDs. But he failed to break the 100-yard rushing mark in any other game in 2021 after that. And he has been listed as a player that could disappoint in the NFL because he has the NFL size without the expected power and punch, and he lacks that top-end speed. In terms of his NFL comparison, he's been compared to David Johnson of the Houston Texans, so has a lot of upside for sure, but a lot still left to be decided for, so definitely maybe someone to maybe even consider maybe rolling the dice on. We'll have to see. But he'll be on Detroit's draft radar just because he was in the Senior Bowl. So they have a good idea what he's capable of. Alright, so the next player we're going to go over here, hailing out of Cincinnati, standing 5'11", weighing 215 pounds, we got Jerome Ford. So for Jerome's strengths, he maintains low pads through the hole. Vision's adequate for spotting cutbacks and he jumping lanes. He's an urgent downhill runner, won't get too cute with his approach. He's quick to identify blitzers and put his body in the way. His ball skills are reliable as a receiver. Long speed will be enough to pull away down the field. And he's willing to let his blockers set up rather than step on their heels. He's also been listed as one of the top sleeper picks in the draft because he used to be for Alabama, but he made his mark with Cincinnati after the transfer as a downhill runner. And he'll likely home run pick for a zone-based team. So yeah, in terms of his weaknesses though, he loses balance and stumbles when he is forced to make adjustments at the line. He ducks his head and lifts regularly as a pass blocker. Foot quickness is below average, gives him little room for wasteful steps. He rises quickly on initial contact, struggles to maintain forward momentum through hits. His power isn't going to drive the pile in short yardage situations, but his burst doesn't pop in close quarters. In terms of his NFL comparison, he's been compared to Sony Michel at the Los Angeles Rams, so a lot of upside for sure, a couple things to clean up, but still maybe someone to consider for depth. So the next player we're going to go over here, hailing out of Oregon, standing 5'8", weighing 211 pounds, we got C.J. Ferrel. So for C.J.'s strengths, he's a power pack pinball runner to and through the hole. Shows good balance and bounce in tight quarters to slip tacklers and break into the open field. He's quick to get to top speed and it's tough to knock off his feet due to his low center of gravity and tough running style. It's complete with a stout, stiff arm and good forward lean. He attacks tacklers, lowers his shoulders into contact, presenting a relatively small target for defenders. He's short, but he's far from small with broad shoulders. He has well-developed biceps and thick thighs. He's thick with it. He underutilizes a receiver at Oregon. He shows his soft hands and body control to haul in a variety of passes early in his career. He had 27 catches in his 13 games as a freshman, but only 32 for over the remaining 3 seasons of his college career. Has good ball security. He routinely holds the ball with both hands and has lost just 3 fumbles and 600 combined touches over his career. So that's a pretty good ratio. In terms of his weaknesses, though, he has a big back mentality and a smaller frame, and it won't be viewed as the bell cow in the NFL that he was by college recruiters. Won't be able to bulldoze NFL defenders the way he did against Pac-12 opponents. He's more a runaway freight train than a true breakaway threat, despite long runs on his resume begging to differ, including a 77-yard run against Ohio State in the bowl game. Most importantly, though, he has to prove his health following the significant injury that prematurely ended his 4th year at Oregon after just 5 games, so there's that too. In terms of his NFL comparison, he's been compared to Khalil Herbert of the Chicago Bears, so has a lot of upside for sure. A couple things to clean up, and, that injury last year, can he stay healthy? That's going to be the big key. Maybe this definitely someone I would consider rolling the dice and taking a gamble with. So the next player we're going to go over here, hailing out of UTSA, standing 5'9", weighing 200 pounds, we got Sincere McCormick. So for Sincere's strengths, he's a forward-leaning runner, has a violent approach to taking out linebackers, has a very twitchy lower half with the roadrunner feet, able to make lane adjustments without having to gear down. His leg drive and lower body, they create unexpected yards. He's a comfortable weaving through traffic and works between the tackles, instinctive back with good vision. He's decisive and urgent with his adjustments. In terms of his weaknesses, it's tough for his weight class, but doesn't have the ideal bulk for an NFL back. He lacks adequate take-on ability as a pass blocker, no knockback power on initial contact. His burst and build-up speed are both underwhelming for his size. His jump cuts are precise but don't cover much ground laterally. His catch radius is small even for a back. He wins more in spite of his physical ability than with it. In terms of his NFL comparison, he's been compared to Jamar Jefferson of the Detroit Lions, so has a lot of upside for sure. A couple of things, still a bit undersized, but still someone I would consider for sure and keep an eye on. So the next player we're going to go over here, hailing out of South Dakota State, standing 5'11", weighing 205 pounds. We got Pierre Strong Jr. So for Pierre, his strengths are he's a natural working against the grain, has excellent cutback ability. He's a long strider, picks up speed easily in the open field, effortful and engaged in pass protection, has great peripheral awareness both in space at the line of scrimmage. He's controlled and patient with his movements. He's able to break through most arm tackles. In terms of his weaknesses, though, he will need to tune up his hands as a receiver. He loses balance too often when he tries to make cuts. He runs himself into trouble by always looking for an alternate route. He lacks the workhorse back size. He may not translate well physically to the NFL as a rookie. His elusiveness is average. In terms of his NFL comparison, he's been compared to free agent running back Paul Perkins, so he has a lot of upside for sure, but lacks a lot of things to really be an every down back. Might be more like a situational back, or even maybe put him on special teamers. Maybe someone to consider for special teams. So the next player we're going to go over here, hailing out at Baylor, standing 5'11", weighing 221 pounds. We got Abram Smith. So for Abram's strengths, he plays with a physicality one might expect from a former linebacker. Seems to relish head-on collisions, demonstrates impressive contact balance, leg drive, and sheer toughness. He's far from just a human sledgehammer, however, and he shows impressive bursts to take advantage of alleys. He accelerates quickly with above-average speed overall for a back of his size. Isn't the nimblest of the backs in this class, but he shows enough lateral agility and creativity to elude and incorporate dekes. And spins and has a strong, stiff arm to protect his legs, keeps them from churning. He's very attentive in physical and pass protection, sinks his hips, takes on charging defenders. In terms of his weaknesses, though, he's a bit of a bull in a china shop type as a runner. He lacks that sharp horizontal cutting and makes you miss elusiveness to consistently create on his own. He's a better blocker to receiver to passing game. In 2021, he only had 13 catches in 2021 and 14 total overall throughout his career. He carries the ball high and tight, but put 2 on the ground and lose 1 in his long, lone seats as a starting running back at the college level. Has a history of knee injuries, including tearing his ACL as a sophomore in high school, redshirt his first year at Baylor following a second injury and surgery. He ran with fresh legs in 2021 at least Baylor with relatively few carries, but was leaned on as a prep in Texas, at least with school record 4,955 rushing yards over 4 years of varsity football. So, yeah, that was all in college, though, but has a history of leg injury, so that's a bit of a red flag there. In terms of his NFL comparison, he's been compared to Mike Davis of the Atlanta Falcons, so has a lot of upside for sure and a lot of physicality, but then he knows the injuries. Can he stay healthy? That's going to be the big key. I think there are better running backs you can roll the dice with over him, so for Abram, I'll say pass because of the injury history. So the next player we're going to go over here, hailing out of LSU, standing 6 feet tall, weighing 225 pounds. We got Tyrion Davis Price. So for Ty's strengths, he's a huge back with NFL-ready frame. Size and effort of pass protection is adequate. He's quick to react to break through with the line of scrimmage. He build up speed solid relative to his size. Feet are nimble when he works between the tackles. He knows how to get skinny and make himself a smaller target. Intelligent blocker with good awareness for blitzers. His toughness will make some safeties choose the easy way out. In terms of his weaknesses, though, his short area quickness is modest. He loses his balance when he tries to make harder cuts. He rarely utilizes a receiver. Doesn't have a lot of experience catching passes. He's not as much of a pile pusher as his frame would indicate. He can't make long jump cuts due to his lateral agility limitations. He'll have to go through fenders rather than around them. In terms of his NFL comparison, he's been compared to Quadri Olson of the Atlanta Falcons, so has a lot of upside for sure. A couple things to clean up. and a few limitations, but maybe someone considers maybe like a third down back or a situational running back. So the next player we're going to go over here, hailing out of Georgia, standing 5'11", weighing 190 pounds, we got James Cook. And if anyone's wondering, yes, he is the younger brother to Minnesota Vikings running back Dalvin Cook. So yeah, in terms of James Cook's strengths, he's a classic airback whose vision, lateral agility, and burst make him difficult to track down. His tracking's the key word, whose greatest asset might be his ability to catch the ball both out of the backfield and even split out wide. His quickness and body control make him a slippery route runner, and he adjusts well to partway thrown throw passes, including those thrown over his shoulder. As a runner, he's quick to and through the hole. He sprints into the secondary and weaves his way through traffic naturally. He has good ball security. He lost only one fumble, and that came in 2018. In terms of his weaknesses, though, he's never played the role of a lead back with 5 games over his career, which he handled 10 or more carries. Has a career high of 12 attempts coming against Arkansas in 2021. He has more flash than finish as a runner with a top-heavy frame that brings less than ideal leg drive for short yardage duties. Too often, he's knocked down by the initial hit. While he's quick and agile, he shows less than ideal awareness of the sidelines and multiple examples of tape in which he fails to straddle the boundary, leaves extra yardage on the field. In terms of his NFL comparison, he's been compared to Demetric Felton of the Cleveland Browns, so has a lot of upside for sure, but a couple things to polish. But now the question is, can James Cook live up to the potential and expectations that his older brother Dalvin has lived up to in the NFL? Because he's going to have a lot of expectations once he comes into the league. Can he live up to it, or will he just be living in Dalvin Cook's shadow? And that would be quite a shadow to live under. So the next player we're going to go over here, hailing out of Florida, standing 5'9", weighing 215 pounds, we got Damien Pierce. So for Damien, he's your prototype inside running back, so he's very good at running inside the play. So in terms of his strengths, he braces well for initial contact and has the balance to take hits. He plays with low pads and a naturally impressive center of gravity. Sharp and immediate with his jump cuts, he possesses a strong stiff arm that will blast back defenders when it lands cleanly. Has a strong base and pass protection that will stall out blitzers. He's a tireless worker in high traffic areas, so he's smart with his angles. In terms of his weaknesses, he has very short strider, struggles to open up in space. His lack of long speed, it will limit him when he tries to break away from linebackers. He struggles to make harder cuts without building up to them. He's not athletically impressive back outside of his balance through contact. He loses footing too often when he tries to reach to immediate pressure. In terms of his NFL comparison, he's been compared to Elisha Holyfield of the Cincinnati Bengals, so has some strong upside for sure. Very good running inside. A lot of things to clean up and a lot of things that will limit him. Definitely someone I would consider for like a third and short situation for sure. Maybe be a situational running back. And the final running back, the final player we're going to go over in this video, we have hailing out of Florida International, standing 6'2", weighing 215 pounds. We got Devonta Price. So for Devonta's strengths, he's an impressively built back with an NFL frame and room to add good weight. He's violent and strong at pass protection duties. He consistently falls forward through contact, pushes the pile, has good awareness as a blocker. He's smart with his footwork, lets his linemen lead the way. He treats his body like a hammer rather than a nail. And he's been listed as one of those small school studs, so he's killed it in a small school area. Because his physicality and size will make him a surprise contributor, even if he's never an every down star in the NFL. In terms of his weaknesses, though, his natural upright runner isn't quick enough with dropping the pads in the hole. His long speed is adequate for the NFL. It isn't ideal for outrunning defensive backs, though. He wasn't utilized much as a receiver, doesn't seem to have desirable quickness to run quality routes. He's a very narrow mover, isn't able to change directions easily. His instincts and creativity are underwhelming. In terms of his NFL comparison, he's been compared to retired running back Alfred Blue, so has a lot of upside for sure and a lot of physicality to his name. A few things to clean up though, but definitely could be used as like a situational back, or maybe even as a punt returner. Or kick returner for special teams. Someone to consider maybe for special teams for sure. But yeah, anyway, that'll wrap it up here for this NFL draft preview. So yeah, definitely a lot of names to consider for sure for running back prospects. You'll probably have more probably fall down because the draft is so unpredictable and it's such a crapshoot. But yeah, anyway, that'll wrap it up here. So yeah, so definitely some running backs to consider for sure for depth, because it never hurts to add an extra one or two. But yeah, anyway, that'll wrap it up here. So the next time on the draft previews, we'll wrap up the wide receiver portion of the NFL draft, of this NFL draft class, to take a look at some more wide receiver prospects. But yeah, anyway, that'll wrap it up here, and that's all I gotta say. Hope everyone's a great day, and I'll see you all whenever I make next. Peace.